Hello, good evening, and welcome to the midweek fix from the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav. I have Chris, I have Kev, and I'm delighted to be joined by Leeds fan Joe Wayman, who I asked a minute ago, how are you, Joe? And he went, the season's gone fucking shit. So that's the only response I've got out of him so far. So we'll try to get a bit more out of him in the next hour or so. Liverpool v Leeds at Anfield tomorrow night in the Premier League is what we're going to look at. We're also going to talk about our charity. We're going to talk about BetMate, and we're going to try pick a team between us. And anything else that comes in the chat in the next hour or so. We'll try to get out of here in an hour. Joe, I'm going to have to come to you first, brother. Leeds beaten at the weekend. I watched it against Manchester United. Very poor first half. Got back into it and then fell away a little bit at the end. I jokingly said there a minute ago, you told me that the season is going shit, but how are you feeling, Joe? It's the only question I can ask you. How are you feeling? Like, it is not going great, but is there any signs of life in this team, or is it just being a bit unfortunate, injuries and stuff like that? Form, it's all come together in a bit of a perfect storm at the moment for Leeds. You're muted, Joe.
There we go. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me back on. I feel like I've missed you. Big up to the chat as well. I can see that. A lot of love in there. So thank you for that. I need it right now, to be honest. But no, look, I know we'll be all right. I know as long as, if you could give me 17 for now, Gav, I'd snap your hand off. That's the situation that we're in currently. Yeah, it's just one of them. It's not been very enjoyable, and it seems to be getting worse. I think it will get worse before it gets better, because, of course, we've got Hughes. We've got Hughes tomorrow, and then we've got Spurs at the weekend as well. So there's some tough fixtures coming up. But these sort of games won't define our season. Much has changed from last season, as you know. I was bouncing around, and now not so much. But look, there's a number of factors. The injuries, the whole spine of the side's been out for quite some time. Cooper, Calvin, and Patrick Bamford. You take a spine out from any side, especially one that's not as stacked as Leeds United. If you compare it with the rest of the squads in the league, it's always going to be tough. But look, like even that result against Manchester United, that fight back, I know ultimately we lost the game and points win your prizes, but I don't see a lot of other teams down there having that same fight, and when we're on it, we will beat teams. I mean, look, we beat West Ham not too long ago. I know we then followed it up with a loss against Newcastle. We get spanked by Everton. It's just going to be one of them. It's going to be up and down, and we just have to grit our teeth and hope that there's three worse teams than us. And I believe come the end of the season there will be. Norwich, Watford, and I'm going to say Brentford, mate. I know you hadn't asked me, but they're the three that I'm looking at currently. I just keep looking.
It's one Kev picked last night that and we were talking about the Premier League last night, and Kev, I think it was Kev that picked them out and said he struggles to see where Brentford get many more points, just the way they're falling like a stone. But I was looking up your injuries, right? Because we're playing you tomorrow night. You asked me what I thought the Liverpool team would be, and we'll go through it in a bit. But I was looking up your injuries, and I was kind of going, okay, late February, early March. There's a lot of them in there that could come back at the same time. Now, I'm not saying they'll all drop in and hit the ground running, but even to give the fan base a boost, even to give the manager, the players that are there, because like Firpo comes on at the weekend because Koch gets injured.
Yeah.
And Firpo looked out on his feet after about 20 minutes, and I was like, fuck me, this must be really bad. This fella's coming on as a sub and looks like he's leggy. You know the way. Is that what you need? You just need a couple back. Not to have a massive impact maybe in the first couple of weeks that they're back, but get them back early March and get them in the run in mid-March, and you'll be okay. It just gives a boost to everyone, because to me, Leeds at the weekend looked like a team that are a bit confused, out of form, low on confidence, and literally afraid at times to play football, because they knew we could get the ball turned over here and we could be in serious trouble.
Yeah, I think to put it into perspective, I think but Bamford came back from injury against Brentford, scored an equaliser, was on the pitch for about 2 minutes, and that was the first time all season, right? We'd had a fully fit squad. And then whilst he's celebrating, he injures his hamstring. So that tells you where we're at, right? But yeah, March, we expect Calvin back. We expect Cooper. We don't know with Bamford. They've still not give us a end date. There's a lot of talk that the club are keeping it on the QT because they don't think he'll be fit until the end of the season. They believe they're keeping it on the QT because we didn't sign a striker in January. I'm not sure I believe all that sort of cloak and dagger conspiracy theorist kind of stuff.
Don't worry, we get them when we have a player injured.
When we have a player injured, we want a set date and time when they be back. And if it goes a day beyond that, it's like the club are absolutely hoodwinking us here.
Yeah. But I know they'll want to get back. And I just think, Calvin being back's the main one for me. We miss him massively, and no one else within our squad really can do what he does to a similar level. You know, you're using Koch, who's a centre-back. You're using Strauch in the second half against Manchester United, who's a centre-back. So, yeah, it's not ideal.
Okay.
But we'll be all right, Gav, I think. We will, won't we? Do you think we will?
I hope you are. Because I enjoy. I want to see a happy Joe. I don't like seeing you sad. You know, I remember when it was your birthday and you got a lovely tracksuit and you looked just so fucking happy. And I even messaged you going, my God, he's so happy with that tracksuit. So I want to see you happy. If it's tracksuits or just staying in the Premier League, whatever makes you happy, I'm happy.
Good man.
Kev, Leeds, before we get into the game itself, Joe says there, like, it's not good. And Joe's very honest in what he says about Leeds United. He's not going to come on here and spin us a yarn and we're all going to sit here going, this fucking man is mad. He will come on and tell you very honestly how things are.
He is a bit mad, Biden.
He is mad, but
that's what we like.
In a good way. He's in a good way.
Exactly. But, you know, he's not going to come on here and spin us a yarn and we go, well, maybe he's going to tell you how it is. Yeah. But he said something there. He said, look, we're going through a bad patch. You know, we're going through a bad time. Players out. There's definitely a lack of confidence and even not fitness, maybe just a lack of go in Leeds at the moment. But he says one thing very importantly. You just have to look for 3 teams that are worse than us this season. There definitely is, Kev. There's definitely 3 teams worse than Leeds in this league, and that's probably what they have to hold on to even in the darkest of times through this run.
I think they're dependent on Brentford carrying on sinking because I think Burnley will be okay. I think Weghorst has been, I keep saying that, I think he's an absolute dream signing for them. Good footballer, can score goals, can help create goals. He'll help get them safe. I don't see Brentford being willing to change, and I think that will cost them. They were new at the start of the season. They've just been too easy to figure out, and they don't have enough goals. I think Joe was right in what he was saying about not so much Bamford, but Calvin Phillips. He's the engine in midfield, and he makes them tick. He allows a lot of players to be more creative and be more expansive by sitting and dictating play, and without that, it's Leeds are too easy to play against. And it's telling in the stats for the season that Melia has made the 3rd highest amount of saves in the league this season, and that's never a good table to be anywhere near around the top. You know, he's a young keeper learning his trade still. He's a good keeper, but he has a mistake in him. His distribution isn't good enough, and he's not being protected enough. You know, there's a naivety about Leeds the way they're defending this season that isn't being helped by the injury list. Like Joe said, in fairness, the spine is out, and when you're scoring enough goals, that can hide a lot of sins. But if you're not scoring the goals, the sins are exposed, and they can give up too many chances. And there's too many good sides in this league that'll punish it. You know, the first season you can get away with a certain amount, but second season, the analysts get to work on you and they figure out ways to get around the traps that you set. And if you're not on your A game or you haven't got your A side, then it can be punished. I think January, I said when I was on with Joe before January, I said, January, you need to do something. And they didn't back him in January, and I think they needed to. But I think they'll be okay. I just think that come next season, there's going to need to be a few changes at the club, and they need to invest properly in players and invest in a bit of quality. If Bielsa is going to stay and carry on playing the way he plays, he needs to support him with the right type of players. Otherwise, it's going to be a third time round.
It looks to me like, and I know people say this might be easy to say because they are missing some players, but even before they were missing some players, they do look like they need a bit of a reboot. There's only so much footballers can do in this sort of system, and I'm not knocking the system because he likes to play high intensity football where he presses the life out of teams. He's open, his teams are open, but he likes to basically say, we'll run more than you and we'll back ourselves after running more than you that we'll beat you. And there's only so many seasons you can get out of that, especially when you make that jump from Championship to Premier League. You know, you can run over teams in the Championship at stages, but other teams will play around you in the Premier League. You know, the sort of way. On the goalkeeper, he was a real marker for me at the weekend as to how low in confidence they are and how unsure they are of themselves and what they're trying to do, because he was kicking balls out for no, like, I know it was bad positions, but I said it last night, he kicks one out and I turned away from the telly and I heard another groan about 30 seconds later and I looked and he'd done something else, and then I stayed watching the telly and he literally delayed and hit one first half out towards the left wing and it dropped nowhere near the Leeds player, just went straight out of play, nowhere near the Leeds player, and I went, early on the season, or last season, he would have just taken that and popped it into Calvin Phillips, bang, into Calvin Phillips, and he'd have played a fullback or turned on it and whatever, and you can see there's so many facets to it, but when they start piling on top of each other, everything gets affected. You know, your morale, how much energy you have, how confident you are in playing football, how confident you are in winning games. And I think right now at Leeds, Bielsa won't really change it, but for me, they just need a break, and they probably need just one or two to come back and even come on for 20 minutes in a game. Them guys on the pitch knowing that Calvin Phillips is coming on, or Bamford's coming on, or Cooper's coming on with 20 minutes to go and they're 1-0 up, or they need a goal, or they need... It's a huge thing for Leeds. Chris, you know, we look at Leeds, we talk about 3 teams worse in the league and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, they're just going to have to grit their teeth and go through this. You know, it was always coming anyway. When you come in the Premier League, it's not plain sailing all the time. It'll always come. They just have to grit their teeth, don't they?
Yeah, you've got to grin and bear it a little bit. I mean, I think Leeds will be okay because I think there are at least 3 worse teams worse than them.
Everton.
Hopefully one. Yeah, that's the one I'm hoping.
Yeah, because I have tagged a message here for later where somebody has asked for Joe's opinion on Frank Lampard or Everton, and I'm not missing the opportunity to ask that question. So that will be coming later. But go on, Chris.
The only thing that I think there is a bit of a myth around Bielsa, and the myth is that he doesn't change. Because I remember me and Joe doing a show. It was probably around Feb of last season, where there was a criticism of Leeds how they defended, and we'd worked out getting to the end of last season, from Jan to May, Leeds had one of the best home defensive records.
Yeah, and
all they did was, I say all they did, they played that bit deeper, closed gaps, but then when they got the ball, they spring like they do, and they were still scoring goals for fun, but they were a bastard to break down. And we found that when we drew them 2-2, they were a bugger to break down. And it's just like, I always felt from the start of the season, he's like Bielsa saw that and went, yeah, that worked. Fuck it, we'll go back to all-out attack, and the better side picking you off quite easily. Now, look, losing someone like a Calvin Phillips and your goal threat in Bamford doesn't help. But I do think the manager has got off a little bit lightly, because there are times I've looked at Leeds and gone, but you did tweak it slightly. You didn't turn into Burnley, but you turned into more of a defensive unit, which was just a pain to break down. I mean, you had the pace to scare the shit out of people on the break.
Yeah, but I Chris, do you know what I think it is? I think if he was missing, if he had his full defence, if he had Cooper and say he had Calvin Phillips in the side and he didn't have Bamford, I think you might see him dropping that bit deeper and saying to himself, we've confidence in Cooper and Calvin Phillips and anyone else that's around them to close passing lanes, win the ball, and then spring the likes of Rafinha or Dan James and use it that way. I think what's happening with Leeds is, and especially from watching them, is despite the lack of confidence, they're still trying to play football, right? Which is probably to the detriment at the moment, especially in that first half against United. They were literally United literally just went, wait, bang, press, and these were just giving it back to them and United were able to play. But because I think their outlook is, listen, I don't think they trust what they can do in defence. So I think it's a case of let's try attack. And the best form of defence is attack. I know it's an old saying, but it feels to me a bit like that, where, we're missing a centre-back and we're missing our best midfielder. Do you know what? Let's just push on and make it a game of fucking tennis nearly and just hope for the best. That's what I feel. That's what I feel it's like a little bit.
Because for who's available, Forshaw, from what I've seen, looks good. I mean, the lad's come back from a horrendous. Is it a hip injury? He had, Joe. He was out for ages, wasn't he?
Who's that? Sorry, Chris.
Forshaw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was out for 2 years.
2 years. I remember reading a story about him saying he's out for 2 years because so that's going to affect his ability. But if you did like Forshaw and Dallas, Dallas is a very clever player, very versatile. If you played them as a 2, just that little bit deeper, it would give you enough because Dallas has got enough of the passing range on him to. He's not Calvin Phillips, but enough to give you something. The problem you got at the moment is because everybody else is injured. Dallas has to fill about 7 positions, which is a help and a hindrance. I was curious for you, Joe. What's your opinion been of Rafinha this year? Because I found him a bit disappointing when you've needed someone to really step up for you without Bamford. I think he scored 80, but it's like the Everton game. It's not going for it. It's a big 6-pointer, and you go, I've got to hook this guy at half time. He's just doing nothing for me. Which is you wouldn't expect him to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of recency bias with that. I agree with you. What you just mentioned about Everton, he was garbage. He was poor against Villa. Probably should have been hooked against Villa. And then he didn't start against Manchester United. So there you go. I think that was Bielsa saying to him, you ain't in here just, as you are. And then he came on second half and actually improved Leeds United and scored a goal. I think had he not been in this side, Chris, we'd be probably in the relegation zone right now because earlier on in the season he did.
Is it a case of losing those players where teams will look and go, just block out Rafinha? Just literally block him out of the game. It actually starts to look like Rafinha's having no impact when it turns out the opposition are literally just either feeding the ball away from Rafinha so he doesn't get it, or when he does get it, they're just absolutely hounding him.
Yeah. There is, of course, that because it was a point where if we couldn't get it to Rafinha, or if it didn't work, then it was game over kind of thing. And I think the West Ham game was the only one where and Jack Harrison scored a hat-trick in that one. So yeah, we have needed to share it about a little bit, and we've missing Bamford, all these different factors, and I know you touched on obviously, Bielsa and us not backing him, and that's on Bielsa as well. Like we were offered Harry Winks, we were offered Van der Beek, we were offered players, and Bielsa said no to them. That's why there's a lot of unrest in the fan base. There's some that are very unhappy with Bielsa. I'm not one of them, me. But there have been calls for him, which I think's insane, if I'm honest. But it is what it is. I think it's just because of where we find ourselves in the league. People need to remember, the club set out 17th. I think if we don't finish 9th last season, people will be a little bit more accepting of what's going on right now. But yeah, and as for the summer, just to jump ahead as well, like I don't know if you've seen, but we've been linked with Jesse Marsh. We've been linked, obviously.
Jesse Marsh, former Leipzig manager, Jesse Marsh.
Yes, yeah.
Did he go to someone else then?
He was at Dortmund.
He was at Salzburg and he went to Leipzig and he didn't quite work out from that.
It didn't work out at Leipzig. Yeah.
You're right. So he managed against us for Salzburg and then he went to.
Yeah, he's highly thought of it.
He's a spoofer, Joe.
But the Leipzig job just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, because he's a spoofer, Joe.
So there's him, and then we've been linked to buying Brendan Aronson, who's at Salzburg currently, American.
Yeah.
The 49ers are muted to be taking over in the summer. So I think maybe Radrazani will leave. There's talk that Bielsa might leave. So I think there is going to be an overhaul in the summer anyway. And maybe it needs to happen. I don't want it to, but I can see why it may need to happen because Bielsa is very set in his ways. There's a lot of people say, if Bielsa stays, but he does need to change his ways. He does need a bigger squad. He ain't gonna.
He likes a small squad, yeah.
Yeah, he's nearly 70, he ain't this is probably his last job. He ain't going to go, do you know what? I'm going to listen to alt fans and suddenly change in my last ever job. It's not going to happen, is it? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you could argue over Bielsa all day. You know, if I got Keith Plunk on here, he'll just tell you if you're giving out about Bielsa.
Well, you don't know, boss.
To fuck off, basically. Tell you.
It's good to wind him up, though.
But you're right in what you're saying. Yeah, it is good to wind Keith up. But you're right in what you're saying. Like, you know, finish bottom five in 2 seasons. Yeah. You go, they've got in the Premier League, they've survived okay, and they've consolidated that this season. And then you look for, like you're pointing towards, a little bit of an overhaul maybe in the ownership or the way they're going to back them and stuff like that. But that makes perfect sense. You're right what you're saying. They finished 9th last season. It raises expectancy. It always does, you know. And sometimes you just have to go, listen, 9th was just a phenomenal season last season. It's probably 7 places higher than we targeted, and then we kind of have to take it and go, listen, if we finished 6 places higher last season, we probably would have said 10th this season when we finished 13th or 14th. You just have to take that and move on. The game tomorrow, though. Let's talk a bit about Liverpool before we move on. Bielsa is a god, says Keith Plunkett. You see, the minute you mention Bielsa, the bass signal goes up in the sky, and Keith Plunkett comes out of his pit and goes, "Wow, who's having a word about Bielsa?" And he will not have a word said against the man.
Apparently, Joe, Brendan Rodgers available in the summer.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, do you know what? I'd take Brendan Rodgers. I can't.
No, you wouldn't, Joe. Listen, we'll fall out in a massive fucking wave. You ever out of them words again? But look, the game tomorrow. It's a huge game for Liverpool. It's a huge game for Leeds as well. But in the way that the title race, and it is a title race, is looking, you know, we go back how many amount of weeks. City were 12 clear, and you know, we had a game in hand, and then City draw against Southampton. They've been beaten by Spurs. Liverpool have just continued winning, and if we win this tomorrow night, which is our game in hand from Boxing Day, and people asking is it not on live? No, the reason being is it was due to be on BT on Boxing Day, but because it has to be played tomorrow, you cannot play live domestic top flight games on TV when the Champions League is on. It's part of the contract. So you're going to have to find it on American TV or whatever way you want to do that. You know how you're going to do it. So it's a huge game for Liverpool. It would have our game in hand and could get us within 3 points of Man City. Now, Man City will play at the weekend while we're in the League Cup and get that game back, so we would still be floating around with a game in hand, which will be March the 16th when we play Arsenal. But, Kev, I'll come to you first. You know, I'm a big thing on not being complacent. And we're talking here about Leeds' issues and the players they're missing. They've literally ran for 100 minutes against Man United in what was literally a paddy field by the end. You know, and the legs must be so tired. I joked that Leeds' legs wouldn't wake up till Wednesday morning. But we can't be complacent here, can't we not? Because it's a game we have to win. We have to show intensity. We have to put a strong side out. And we have to go. And like, I know Joe is here, but we have to just put these to bed in 45 minutes. And if you want to take a foot off the pedal and look forward to Sunday and a League Cup final, so be it. But go and do your job first, Kev.
I don't give a flying fuck about Sunday. I don't care. Okay. The League Cup is a nice bonus. It's a nice trophy. If you can get to a final and win it, great, happy days. I care about 3 points in the league.
Kev, you're killing our show on Friday, mate.
Yeah,
I'm telling it as it is, mate.
It's a show you host, Kev.
I've been pretty consistent all the way through the season. The League Cup is nice and it's good for the squad.
I get the feeling someone's looking for Friday off.
Could be one man show at this rate. Yeah.
The Premier League is all important.
Yeah.
3 points tomorrow night is all important. Everything else pays into significance. We go as strong as possible. You win the game, and you look forward to Sunday and enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is. It's a good day out for the fans. If you go and pick up silverware, brilliant. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference when it comes to the league. It's a game that against Arsenal we're going to have to make up. But tomorrow night is everything. We have to go and win it. Leeds are well capable of hitting you on the break if you're complacent. If we're naive in any way, shape or form, Dan James, Rafinha can hurt you. If you play stupid and you miss your high line, or you're not on it, a ball over the top, but they've got the pace to hurt you. But at the same time, we have to take our chances. And we will get chances. Guaranteed 100%. We will make chances, and we have to take them. Win the battle in midfield, and we win the game tomorrow night. But tomorrow night is everything. Make no mistake about it.
It is like it's the biggest game of the season so far for me. You know, because it's you know, we've clawed a gap back. But this is where as much as we put a little bit of pressure on City at the weekend and Spurs went and beat them, the ball's back in their court. The pressure is as much as pressure as City had at the weekend. We have it, if not more, tomorrow night. Where, look, if you're serious about this and you're reeling these in, you need to go and win this game. I think Liverpool need to win them all to win the title, I'm being honest. But this is when you have to win. Chris, I'm talking about intensity. I'm talking about doing your job and stuff like that. Just moving on to what team he might put out, and I'll get Joe's thoughts in a minute. Do you think he goes as strong as he possibly can?
I think he goes as close to it as possible. I think from the game of the weekend, I think you'll see probably the back four that's going to play in the final, 2 of the midfield that are playing the final, and probably 2 of the forwards that are playing the final. And so there's probably 3 people that are going to play that aren't going to be in the final. 1 being Alisson, and then 1 midfield and 1 attacker.
It's like staying with you, Chris. Like I love the way we have options. Like Joe's talking about Leeds missing players. We literally have no one missing. You know, Firmino is out and Jota is out, but Jota could be back for the weekend. But other than that, we have, of the 24-man squad we've 22 men available here tomorrow. I love the options and I love how we can change things around, but I don't think this is a time for changing things around and experimenting or he'll be okay there. I think they just have to go out and go bang. As many as you think is your first 11, I put them all on the pitch, Chris, I'm being honest with you. I really would.
Yeah, I can see the argument to do that. Did he want... There's someone like a Henderson who I'm thinking that they are managing his minutes a little bit. So, because I'm thinking now, because I always pull my last 2 games, Henderson will start the final. But I think to get him to do 390s back to back, I think you're asking too much of him. Because I don't think he can do 390s at the moment with the form he's in. So I think
I wouldn't have him in the starting 11 anyway tomorrow. So
I haven't got the starting 11 either because I think he'll start the final, which is going to upset people because I don't think. I've got a feeling Elliott's not going to make the final. I've got a feeling he'll be on the bench. I've got a feeling he won't start the final. So, okay. But I do think a Thiago and a Fabinho. So Fabinho needs to play to get a bit of rhythm in his game. If he's out for more than 5-6 games, it does take a little while to get tuned up. And I think an hour for Thiago doing the world of good to get him ready for the final. So, okay. But back four wise, I'd go with the back four you think is going to play in the final.
Yeah, so would I. Mem Cray with some breaking news. He says no way Klopp allows complacency tomorrow. He's also heard that Shawnee of this parish is giving the team talk. We're definitely winning. If Shawnee's allowed in to give the team talk, forget it. You know what I mean?
They've had the warning, which was Leicester away just after Christmas. Where
absolutely.
It was a similar position. Leicester's got lots of injuries. Leicester in bad form, and we turned out and we were absolute dog shit. And got what we deserved, which was fuck all because we were just poor. So they've had the warning of what happens if you're complacent.
Absolutely, and the Leicester one still bugs the shit out of me. Mostly because we lost. It was a big team, but mostly because it was Brendan Rodgers really done your head in. Joe, looking into this game and you know. Listen, most of the time you fancy going to Liverpool. It's a nice trip to Liverpool. It's a nice ground. It's a good atmosphere. It's one of the big games of Leeds season is away at Liverpool. Are you worried for tomorrow night?
I am. I can't lie. You've only just got to look at the reverse fixture when we were actually a little bit fighting fitter than what we are now, and you won 3-0 and had Mane being able to finish his dinner, it could have been 6 or 7 like the City one, if we're being totally honest. So there's a little bit of that worries me. I would argue, I sort of agree with Kev. I think a lot of Liverpool fans probably would value winning this game. Like if you were to ask yourself come the end of the season, I guess I'm asking you a question here, but I'll put this in my preview. If you were to lose this game and win the Carabao Cup, or dodge the Carabao Cup, lose and win this one and win the league, like come the end of the season, I think Liverpool fans would be saying, okay, we won the Carabao Cup, but if we'd have only just beat that Leeds side, we'd have won the league. And I think for me, like because where Liverpool are as a club, the Carabao Cup's Mickey Mouse for us. I'd snap the hands off at a Carabao Cup, but for you, it's a bit Mickey Mouse. And I think Klopp.
When I say that, I don't mean it in any disrespectful way to the competition.
No. I get it.
It's literally just a case of
priorities.
It's sickening that when we won the league, we didn't get to celebrate it. Even over here, we couldn't go to the pub up over here. Yeah, you know, we couldn't go. I couldn't go up to Dublin and see the lads and have a drink.
Yeah,
you know, so I'm desperate for that.
I guess what I'm saying is like Klopp for me has that same mentality in terms of this league game is more important than that Carabao Cup game, and
Well, it's more
therefore I
important
think
because it's the next one. He's a big thing about the next game, and he definitely plans beyond them, because I genuinely think he's going to go really strong tomorrow, really strong on Sunday. He's going to rest against Norwich in the Cup, and then he's going to set himself stall out for the remainder of the season, where he hopes to have one trophy in the cabinet, through in the FA Cup, and he's right up Man City's arse for 12 games to go. That's what I think he's looking for. There's no comparison, Joe. If you give me one win out of the next two, it's definitely tomorrow night. Like, and twice on Sundays, every day of the week, and twice on Sundays. It just is. But look, when you say you're worried, is it a mixture of just the players you have out, the form you're in, and also what Liverpool options have? What options Liverpool have?
Yeah, it's Liverpool. I remember being on this. I was on this show a lot, man, and really enjoyed my time, by the way. But you was always spoke, or Liverpool fans spoke about, the failure to invest in the squad, and now I look at that Liverpool squad, and like you said earlier, you're stacked. You have depth and you have strength in depth. You know what I mean? So that's a huge feather in the cap. Like I was saying, it's like, Jota and Firmino aren't playing, but then it's like, the players that are coming in are just as good.
Yeah, he'll do Salamane Diaz.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what we're dealing with. And then even like young Harvey Elliott, maybe he'll play in the free with the lineup you sent me, and Thiago, whoever, Canate, exactly, to Tsimikas. Even these that are on the periphery are still like top players. So there's that. There's the fact that yous have scored the most Premier League goals at home, have the best home defensive record. We have the worst away shipped goals conceded record. We're not in great form. I think that we will try meet fire with fire, and you'll just burn us in transition and we'll concede. And I think, if I'm being totally honest, we'll do well to concede no more than 4. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a good... I think if we can get away with 3-0, I'm like, it's okay. We gave him a game. Do you know what I mean?
Kev, it all points towards Liverpool being really strong in a great run of form, unbeaten at home in this league season. And if you take out last season, where it was just like 21 different centre-back combinations, midfielders, literally our midfield were playing at the back, and we lost. What?
You and me were next for centre-backs, I think.
Yeah, and we lose 6 on the bounce or something at home, and because it was absolutely horrendous. But if you take that section out, when Liverpool have a squad that they can put together, like Virgil van Dijk's last defeat at Anfield was when he played for Southampton. Like, that's how good Liverpool are at home, and that's how dominant they are at home. And I think the only thing that stops us winning this handily tomorrow is complacency. And I really hope Joe was right, that Klopp has this mindset that, listen, this is so fucking important. Because as much as Klopp jokes 2 weeks ago that I don't think we can catch Man City, and Pep responds with, I don't believe him, he's definitely looking at this Kev tomorrow night and he's saying, if we win this and it's 3 points, if you offer Klopp the chance to go to the Etihad 3 points behind and have to win, he's snapping your hand off, because he loves it. It'd be mayhem, and Klopp is absolutely made for it.
Well, it's in our hands, and that's the thing. It was out of our hands for a good while, and even with the points total as it stands now, it's in our hands. The only thing, if we do our job, win the games that we have to win, and City do what they do, we're level on points. It's goal difference. And look, I don't. Whether Klopp believed it or not, I reckon some of the players would have thought, look, it's gone. But now it's back. And I think we've lost 2 games in all competitions since we went out of the Champions League to Madrid last season. That's unheard. That's crazy football. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they have to keep it going. And I think they will. I honestly think the players look at the table. They'd have watched that game the other night, or the Spurs game, and been rubbing their hands out. We're back in it. We're in with a shout here, and that's all you can hope for when you're behind. Is that if your opponent slips, you make them pay for it, and it's up to us to make them pay. So I don't think there'll be any sign of complacency tomorrow night.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he'll go with that front three, by the way.
Well, we'll pick a team in a minute. Before we get to teams, we're going to do a little bit on BetMate to try pick a team to try get everything sorted for tomorrow night. We're terrible at this game, by the way, Joe. I don't know if you know it, but BetMate, the link is in the description. If you go into the description, you click on it, you sign up for BetMate. Every time you sign up, or when you sign up as a new customer, you get a free pot to play in to just you gather your bearings and you see how it works and stuff like that. What we're doing is we've put money into our account. We're trying to play every Liverpool game, and if we win any money, it's going to our charity partner, which is zero at the moment. Like, we're literally going to have to start fucking putting money in ourselves. But what happens in this game is it's Liverpool. We'll do this and then we go on to picking our teams and stuff. So it's Liverpool versus Leeds. It's a minimum payout of £250 in the pot. I know that much, and I'm saying that because I've lost the graphic, so I'm struggling. I'll find it now in a second. But basically, you have to pick 11 players: a goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and 2 forwards, which makes 7, and 4 on the bench. 6 must be Liverpool. No, sorry, maximum of 6 from either team. Yeah, okay. And so you'll have 6 from Liverpool and 5 from Leeds, or the opposite way around. Okay, points are scored for the usual defending, interceptions, goals, tackles, whatever it might be. But you can check it all out on BetMate, and as I said, the link is in the description. If you sign up, you get a free pot to see exactly how it goes, and there is money to be won in that free pot, so you could come out with a profit anyway. So what we're going to do is Chris is going to keep an eye on this. Joe,
you have to be in England to play it. So if
you're it is UK based. It is UK based. Everyone nearly watching now knows that it's UK based. So and that's why Chris is looking after for us. Okay. So what we're going to do is I think we're going to pick 6 Leeds players or 6 Liverpool players. So 2 for me, 2 for Chris, 2 for Kev. I'm going to let Joe pick the 5 Leeds players. Now 4 of them might end up on the bench, but I don't know. We'll have to decide it all between us. All right. So
you want me to pick 5 Leeds players, yeah?
Yeah.
There's no budgets either, so
you pick. What we'll do is, because now, Joe, remember, we're trying to win money here, so you have to think interceptions, passes, tackles, goals, assists, goal clean sheets, wherever it might be. So I'm going to let Joe pick us 5 Leeds players. Right, so we're going to put most of the pressure on Joe here and blame him tomorrow.
Yeah,
we're gonna basically let Joe pick us 5 Leeds players. Okay, so that could be goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, striker, and then whatever, one more of whatever you want. And then we're going to pick our 6 Liverpool players around it. So, Joe, you walk away. Chris knows what he's doing. So, off you go.
Well, we got to have Rafinha.
Okay.
You got to have Big Raf.
Mm-hmm.
Have to stick Forshaw in there. Played like David Batty in that second half on Sunday, so hopefully he'll do something similar at tomorrow night. Rubbish in the first half, mind, against Pogba, so I have to say that. Who else am I going with? Let's go for Luke Ayling, bombing down that right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly catch Robbo out. I think he'll go James from the left, so we're going to go damn James, because he's going to be getting behind Trent time after time. This is all lies, by the way. Rafinha, Forshaw, Ayling. Where?
There's a song in that, time after time.
Yeah. Rafinha, Forshaw, Ayling, James. One more.
Yeah, I'm assuming she's goalkeeper.
No.
Yeah, it has to be goalkeeper.
It has to be a goalkeeper.
There you go then, yeah. There you go. Mellier. I wasn't going to pick him against your lot, but there you go.
No, you have to pick, because you have to have one on the bench as well. So
tell me something, Joe. Of your 5, I'd pick 3 of them off the top of my head. I had Rodrigo instead of James, and I had Dallas instead of Forshaw. That were the only 2 swaps I had. But I'd done a guess on the Leeds players.
Chris,
Dallas is going to be up against Salah, though, I think. So I'm just staying away from that, I
think. So Chris, he has picked a goalkeeper. How many midfielders?
Forshaw and Rafinha are both classed as midfielders in the game, and James is classed as a forward. So we've got 1 defender, 2 midfielders, 1 forward, and a goalkeeper.
Okay, so we have to pick a goalkeeper for putting Alisson in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. He's picked 1 defender.
Yeah.
So we have to pick 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we definitely going with Trent this time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And are we definitely going with Robbo this time?
No. I went Van Dijk.
Well, Joe, what are Leeds like defending corners?
Rubbish.
Okay,
let's go for Van Dijk.
Okay, Van Dijk.
Yeah, definitely go for Maguire scored, didn't he, at the weekend? So yeah.
Okay, so
their first ever goal from a corner this season.
Exactly. This is what we're talking about.
So how many midfielders did they pick? 2, so we have to pick 1.
Yeah,
I think one Fabinho.
Yeah, Kev just loves Fabinho in this game.
Oh, every time we get beat, especially as a Liverpool game, Fabinho's always in those teams. There's always like the top point scorer.
Okay, ridiculous. So we're going Fabinho, and then how many forwards are we allowed?
2. So it's
Mane.
Yeah, I was talking about Salah and Diaz. I don't know if Diaz is the one. I don't know if he's going to start or not.
Yeah, but Joe reminded me of something earlier where Mane gets loads of chances against Leeds, and if he's playing centrally, I fancy him to take a few.
See, I think Sadio starts wide, and I think Origi plays up front. I don't think he puts Diaz in with that turnaround the game.
Yeah, so she's going to start Diaz at the weekend if Jota's not fit.
I think he's bringing him in slowly. Give him a game a week and give him time to adjust. Leeds is a different type of game to anything he'd play against anyone. The pressures, the way Leeds play, the way they attack, and the way they defend is different to anything Diaz would have faced. So I would have thought that if he comes off the bench, maybe. I think Origi gets a start tomorrow night.
What's the chance of Origi getting a start and playing left? He's done it loads.
Yeah, but I think they might rotate it. But I think Sadio would stay.
The last time I seen Origi playing right through the middle from the start for Liverpool, the last time I can remember was Newcastle at home in the year we won the league, and it was fucking appalling. He only lasted about 35 minutes, but it was absolutely appalling. And he even tried to throw him out left to try get him into gear, and it just didn't work.
He got injured.
It's definitely Salah.
It's Salah and one other, isn't it?
I think you have to go with Mane.
All right, we'll put Mane in. Then we have to pick starting 7, and then a captain and a vice captain. So if you're assuming all the Liverpool ones start, it's which Leeds midfielder do you want then? Which is Forshaw or Rafinha?
Oh, Rafinha, 100%.
I had Forshaw because I thought of all the defensive and interceptions work. He's going to be. You'd like to think touch.
He's going to be a busy boy.
Yeah, but I'll let you decide. Do you want Forshaw?
Forshaw's going to be playing in the Calvin role as well, so he will be busy.
He'll be sitting. He will be. Let the chat decide on that last one.
Okay, so the chat has to decide whether we're going with Forshaw or Rafinha in midfield for Leeds for this team.
I think Forshaw he'll get lots of tackles and interceptions because you'd like to think he'll be busy.
So captain and vice captain. Captain, of course, gets 2 times. They get double points, and the vice captain gets time and a half, don't they? 1.5 times their points. So I'm going to let Kev choose the captain. I'm going to let Chris choose the vice captain.
I'll captain Salah.
Okay. Chris?
Okay. That surprised me. Is it Fabinho or Trent? I'll go Trent, vice captain.
Trent, vice captain. Okay. We have got one. We have one in. Let me just double check this so I'm not telling you lies. Right, so Stephen Bourne wants Rafinha, Laura Duffy wants Forshaw, Emma Kavanagh wants Forshaw, Owen Conway wants Forshaw, Antica wants Rafinha. That's 3-2. Rafinha makes it 3-3 through Yus. First to 5 wins. Forshaw in and captains his Owen Conway. That's 4-3 to Forshaw. We need one more Forshaw. Megan McKinnon. The answer's Forshaw.
Forshaw's in.
5 votes to 3. Okay.
That team's locked in.
Okay, good stuff. And as I said, it's available in the UK. If you look in the description, you can get in there. You can get the app on your Apple devices, your Android devices. There's a free pot when you go in to start off. And as I said, if you are going to use it beyond that, I think the pots are £1, £2, £3 and £5. I think they vary on the amount to pay out, but listen, you're literally playing against other people, and a huge percentage of the pot and the money that goes in comes back out. It's only a small percentage that Bet may take, and you're not playing against Bet me. You're playing against other people, other humans. But also remember to please gamble responsibly. If you are going to use it, do it absolutely responsibly. So let's do lineups. Joe, Leeds.
Yeah. Will
Lee Chapman get a start tomorrow, or will they just go with who they've been going with over the last little while?
Yeah, Lee Chapman's not getting a run out for sure.
Rodney,
this is what Joe says. Forshaw's not starting.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I've just done it.
He sets us all up here.
Melly starting goal, Ayling at right back. Centre back will be Llorente and Strauch. Left back will be Stuart Dallas, I think. Then, as I say, Forshaw in the Calvin role. It'll be Rodrigo and Click in midfield. Rodrigo just behind the centre forward, which I think Bielsa will go with Dan James. He'll play Harrison from the left and Rafinha from the right. I just think he'll go with Dan James just for the simple fact, and I know obviously his finishing leaves a lot to be desired, and there's a lot of Leeds fans that don't like to see him in the centre forward position, especially when you're up against someone like Van Dijk. But he's just full of running and full of energy, and we need that up against Liverpool. We need someone to be able to press them. And if Rodrigo plays there, we're not going to get that. My personal preference, though, I would like to see Gelhardt start, and I would
love him as a player.
Yeah, I would.
I've only kept an eye on it because we done a show a while back. Do you remember? And you picked out 3 young Leeds players. It was Gelhardt. It was
Creswell, wasn't it?
Creswell, and who's the son of farmer? Is he the son of a farmer player?
Creswell. Rich Creswell. Yeah.
Played for Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. And there was
Leeds,
one other player, and that's why the reason I keep an eye out for Gelhardt.
Yeah, but he came on against Manchester United and did so much in that second half.
He was busy in that game.
Yeah. So for me, I'd like to see him start, and then I would drop Harrison and play James from the left, and then we can have James and Rafinha trying to get in behind Trent and Robertson, and then obviously Joffrey he'll just fight for every ball. I believe he's a red as well, so there's that. He's a Scouse lad, so there's that as well. So I'd start him. Whether Bielsa will, totally different story. I think he goes with James and has Harrison and Rafinha either side. I mean, to be fair, he dropped Rafinha at the weekend for the Man United game, so you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. But yeah, I'd start Gelhardt, but I don't think he will just yet.
Okay. Kev.
Are you worried? Are you worried now I've read that lineup out?
Yeah, do you know what? And I'm not trying to be funny, but Liverpool will give you chances to try impact on the game with the high line that they play. You just have to be very, very good at breaking it. Like we've seen,
you can time your runs.
Yeah, you have to time them, but the thing is, if you time them right, they'll probably go with you. And Van Dijk just turns on the afterburners and takes you out. But we've had 2 games, Joe, where we've beaten Burnley away, and we've beaten, who did we beat the weekend? Norwich at home. And like literally, the highlights of the games are offsides again that Liverpool have got. Again, like Norwich score and it's offside. Burnley have a chance, it's offside, and they're literally showing these as highlights, going, look, they had a great chance, and you're like, no, it was offside. The high line and how they hold it is ridiculous. The only thing is, if Liverpool are intense and go in and go, we're playing the high line, but we're absolutely going to press the life out of you as well. We're not going to give you a second. That's where you struggle to get out. And I know James is fast and he's full of running and he's a decent player, but they'll swallow him up. They'll just swallow him up with the physicality, that sort of way. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Rafinha, though.
He's got that Rooney about him, he's very small, stocky.
It'd be interesting to see what way he goes, or if he goes a bit more defensive than even what you're saying, and looks to just shut up shop. But we'll have to wait and see. Kev, give us your 11.
I went for Ali, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robbo, Fabinho, Thiago, Elliott, Salah, Origi, and Mane.
Okay, no problem. Chris, have you anything different to that?
No, Kes will read my notes.
Okay. Okay.
No, I just think it picks itself. The only argument you could make is for Ox or Naby over Elliott. Okay. But Elliott's had a good enough rest now, so...
Yeah, and plus, it's not redemption, but Klopp likes to do a bit of a story of that's the game he got injured in. Manny, that's the game he missed a hatful of chances. He does like to do those sort of things. Also for Elliott, it's probably a bit of a mental demon to get over. Get past the game where you got hurt. So I can see why you play Elliott. Plus, he was okay at Inter Milan, but he wasn't great. So you want to get another game out your system where you can hopefully play better. So he needs that. I think he needs the game time anyway. And to be honest, Keita and Chamberlain, more Chamberlain than Keita, didn't do enough to sort of go, oh yeah, give him another go.
So Just to confirm, Alisson, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yep.
Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago, Elliott, Mane, Salah, Diaz. Is that what you have?
Origi.
Sorry.
Origi, no Diaz, yeah.
Okay. I'm all right with Alisson. I'm all right with that back four. I'm absolutely okay with that midfield. I think up front. It was interesting on Saturday because Mane plays through the middle, and he gets the odd half chance, and he's not overly bad, but you can see him drifting out wide second half, and Liverpool click a lot more, and you see Luis Diaz come in a little bit more centrally at times and drift. And between them all, they were kind of rotating around. Origi was included in that. Salah was predominantly off the right. But
for Diaz's goal, Diaz's goal though, he got it from the right.
That's what I'm saying. He's centrally-ish. Yeah, he's central-ish and makes that run. But that's what I'm saying. There was a lot of movement in three of that front four that it ended up being for me.
Yeah, but we were in a 4-2-4 at that stage.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So when we go back into a 4-3-3, I think Origi's a really interesting show. I really do. And you know what? I'll go with just with Origi and maybe look Diaz to come off the bench. Laszlo says VVD has settled my fears about his recovery. He's 100% back to his best, strolling around the pitch, just winning battles with looks. Or with a look. Somebody asked me there earlier where did I get the background behind me with the current Liverpool players wearing retro kits. If you look up a guy on Twitter called Entire Design, Jimmy is his real name. He does all those designs. He very kindly gave them to me, and I had them put onto 2 canvases. So that's what you're looking at, is 2 canvases behind me. But he does all that current players in retro stuff. It's really good. So at Entire Design, Jimmy is his name. Tell him I sent you, and he won't give you a discount rat, and just tell him I said hello.
Is it just Liverpool?
No, he does loads of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he does loads of stuff.
Will you send me that over after?
Yeah, I'll send you over. Yeah, he does loads of stuff. But he's really good, and he's a really nice fella. Yeah, I'll go with that team. I think that might be one where you go, kind of keep your powder dry on one of them because of the Jota and Firmino situation, maybe, and just because you might want someone central to start proper central in Origi. So yeah, I'm okay with that. Mad Show says Red Steve, Minamino, Sadio, Mo. I've no idea if Taki is fit. Should have done my research. Good man, Red Steve. But it's not the wildest show. Bring either Origi or Minamino in and do something along them lines. It does. No, it's not the maddest show at all. Tom Boland says 1-0 for us. We'll do tomorrow. All I care about is 3 points for Liverpool. Yeah, like that's basically it. Some predictions, because I have a couple of really pressing questions I have to ask after this. So some predictions, and you know the rules. If you predict your team to score, you must give me the scorers. Chris.
2-0. Salah double.
Okay. Joe.
3-0 Liverpool. Salah, Mane, Elliott.
Okay. Kev.
3-1. Virgil and Sadio for a brace.
Okay. I'm going to go 4-1. I think Leeds are going to struggle. If Liverpool apply themselves as I think they are going to, and you have to remember this is going to be a pack to the rafters Anfield, baying for blood because they can go within 3 points of City. And trust me,
it's not on telly as well.
Every Liverpool fan out there just wants to get within shooting distance of this City side because A, they want to win a title, and B, they want to see Pep's head explode, right? Because it's great when it happens, right? He just loses the plot altogether. I think would it being an 8 o'clock kickoff, well obviously they're not going to do it at 2 o'clock on a fucking Wednesday, but it would have been 8 o'clock. People come out of work, have a few drinks, get right into it and get into that ground and know that they're going to make a massive difference, because Leeds are going to travel in their numbers as they always do, and they're going to make plenty of noise and get behind their side, and it's up to Anfield to, shout that down and get on top of their players and get behind them. And I just think Leeds will struggle, and I think they will score, because I think there is a bit of mayhem still left in Leeds where they can get at you and do damage. But I think Liverpool 4-1. I think Salah, Elliott, Mane, Robertson. They're the 4 I'm going for. So I did say I had some pressing questions.
Who gets Leeds?
Leeds.
On goal.
No, I've
Sorry.
For Leeds, I think if Gelhardt starts, I think he might get one. I really like the look of him. He's just all action. I really like the look of him. So
I like Harrison. I think Harrison has got a deadly shot in him.
Yeah, he's good.
Very good.
Scored at Anfield last season, didn't he?
Yeah, he's very good from outside the box.
Good the first, yeah. Good goal.
Yeah, he's very good from outside the box, coming from outside to win. He's dangerous, and if he gets ahead of steam up, I think he's technically going to be an excellent player in time.
Yeah. Well, some news from tonight's games. Ziyech and Kovacic have gone off injured for Chelsea tonight. I'm not too sure on the Kovacic one, Kovacic, but I don't think Ziyech looked great coming off. So that's a bit of news ahead of the.
He went down. Nobody was anywhere near him. Neither of them. Okay. Kovacic went down after a long run.
Yeah, he walked down and suddenly he seemed to be like holding his calf, I think. So he just seemed to be struggling to go up the stairs. But
okay.
It was one of those things. They could have caused it early. It could just be a tightness. So
Yeah.
Okay.
But the Ziyech one is one that he just went down holding his Achilles with no one around him, no tackle, nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're the kind of injuries you don't like to see.
Yeah.
For any player, I don't like seeing that from any player.
Yeah, because that means you're probably torn something. Whereas if you get an impact on the Achilles, you're going to go, it's hurting him, but he's okay. But we'll have to wait and see come Sunday. Any prediction, Joe, for the League Cup final Sunday?
I hope you beat them, mate. Let's go for it. 2-1 Liverpool in next. Would it go to extra time in final?
Yeah. Extra time pence. Yeah.
2-1 Liverpool extra time.
Good stuff. And the last question for you before we let you go. Red Steve asked at 8 minutes past 10, which was later than I expected.
This chat has long memories,
but he waited 8 minutes to ask this question, and I held it for a 4 to 49. He says, if it's not too much bother, and he's really polite, fair play to him, and it's not like Red Steve to be like that. Can I ask Joe how he thinks Fat Frank is doing at Everton?
Get your popcorn, guys. Get your popcorn.
No, do you know what? I can't say it, boys, because he absolutely schooled us, didn't he? Battered us 3-0. But what I will say, Leeds United has now become Frank Lampard's FA Cup final, if you like. And he did the same at Chelsea. He got his boys well up for that game. Beasted them. They came out, they battered us. You expect it against Chelsea, but not so much against Everton. But they put some running in. And it wouldn't surprise me now if they now go on a bit of a losing run. And it proved to be the case against Southampton. Didn't show up. They got beat. I think there is a lot of people disregarding them out of this relegation chatter. I think their home form probably does keep them up. But Frank Lampard, you know my thoughts on Frank Lampard. The guy's a Tory. The guy's everything... I don't know. To give you an example.
Well done, Joe. You lasted about 40 seconds being anyway nice there, but you walk away.
No, I guess.
That's all yours. So I'm done. I'll just hit the outro when you're finished. Go on.
No, to give you a measure of the man, right? When Gary Neville did his what do they call it? He's just done one with Declan Rice.
The overlap.
He did the overlap. He went to see Jamie Carragher. Jamie Carragher was in Bootle, walking around. Just normal people. Hey up, Jamie. You all right, Jamie? Yeah. Frank Lampard took him to his wine restaurant in Chelsea. And then he gave us the backstory as to why he had this wine restaurant. He said, my parents used to come here after they'd watch the thing, so I just bought the place. And I thought, you're horrible. You're just horrible, man. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he's all right to his man, dad, but he's horrible to everyone else.
Yeah. He just bought the gap. Like, I don't know.
I watched that. Yeah, I watched that, and I thought there's just nothing real about you.
No,
that's what I got out of that interview. There is absolutely nothing real and authentic about Frank Lampard.
Yeah,
I just thought.
But I actually was listening to the Football Weekly, with Max Rushton and all them guys, and great show. And I forget who was talking about Frank Lampard, but they were saying like they were giving quite an indictment of him, saying how he doesn't sort of like endear himself to the club. He's still the Frank Lampard brand. And so he compared it to Conte, and he says, like, Conte would want to come out and say so much more about what's going on at Spurs, right? Yeah. But he realises that's not going to benefit Spurs. Yes, it would benefit Conte, but it won't benefit Spurs.
We'd all have a lovely time, Joe, if he did.
Eh?
We'd all have a lovely time if Conte said
exactly.
We wanted to.
But the thing is with Frank, he will come out because he doesn't want it to impact his legacy. Do you know what I mean? And just even when he went in there, I think one of the reasons he went in, oh, well, if you get me Dele Alli and you get me Van der Beek, then I'll consider it, kind of thing. Yeah, look, I hope they go down. I think he's gash. I just don't like him, you know that. But I was fuming when they beat us 3-0. I was like,
but in his 2 losses, he's buried players, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he lost 2 players to injuries at Newcastle. Yeah. And he goes, we had to put some lad on who's not players, and he had to stop himself saying he's crappy. But well, he's just a youngster, but. Yeah, it's a challenge for him.
He done it not at Leeds. He done it at Chelsea as well. When towards the back end of his tenure at Chelsea, he starts basically blaming everybody else but Frank Lampard. He's actually the second coming of Brendan Rodgers. To be perfectly honest,
Kavanagh just nailed it there. He is in the mold of Rodgers.
I've just said that.
Yeah, but Emma Kavanagh said it before you.
I don't know. Did he? I want to give him that one.
But it's true. It's. Brendan is exactly the same. Brendan is all important. Frank Lampard is the same, and unfortunately, it's learned behaviour because he did. Frank Lampard hung around with Harry Redknapp, hung on to his coattails at every club he went to, and they all learned the same. They all learned the same trade off the same guy.
But even before that, though, we all know what that Chelsea dressing room was like. That Chelsea dressing room was higher than 5. The managers, they had Abramovich's ear. We knew it was John Terry. We knew it was Frank Lampard. We know the big names, and now he's in the world where players are going to do that to him. And I think he's going to have an eye-opening experience. I think at some point he is going to get buried by his own players.
Yeah,
it'd be good fun to see.
Joe, if Everton go down with Frank Lampard as manager, how many days would you like to go on the piss with me?
Do you know what? I'm
willing to travel, Joe.
No, don't. I'll come see you, man. I'll come see you.
No problem.
I'll come as well.
Oh yeah, I could do some golf a couple of days, then meet up, and then we just laugh our heads off for 4 to 5 days. And
it would be class. I know for you guys.
I'll even buy a new tracksuit.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't mind Everton, but yeah,
it's just Frank, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But do you know what? Like, at least if he fails here, then we won't have to deal with him getting linked to jobs and that anymore.
I don't know because I think he's in a bit of a win-win at Everton. I think because he has succeeded Rafa Benitez, any problems that come along with Frank Lampard is going to be traced back to Rafa Benitez by a huge amount of Everton fans. So in my opinion,
it's already out there now with Blues. This is the mess Rafa's let us in. It's really hard for Frank to repair this. I think even if I'm not sure if Everton will get dragged right in. I think they're in, but I don't know if they're in. But even if they do, I think you'll hear a lot of reference to Rafa Benitez, Bill Kenroy, and others on the Everton board, without going as far as Farhad Moshiri, because he's the fella spending all the money, and they're not that stupid to fucking go there. But we'll have to wait and see.
It could cripple them if they got relegated. With the amount of money that Everton has spent in recent years, it could absolutely cripple.
And a huge pressure to get sorted before the new ground comes and stuff. There's all sorts happening. But anyway, that has been the midweek fix. Chris, thanks a million for joining me. Kev, thanks a million for joining me. Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. Can I interest you in our Man on Football show, which is about just general football, and we just have a laugh for 40 to 60 minutes. Can I interest you in that at some stage?
When's that?
I don't know yet. I'll let you know.
Yeah, well, Mondays, I have a couple of Mondays, what time?
10.
Should be all right, mate, yeah.
Thursdays, 9, 10.
10, 9, 10s. 9, 10, because I normally go out at 8, so if it's after that hour, then we should be good to go.
Okay, I'll get you on. Yeah. I do know Keith wants to talk about African nations football kits that he thought was outstanding in the last AFCON, so that's the sort of stuff you're going up against. But it's...
I do have the Cameroon. Was it Cameroon? The cut off
The
arms?
sleeveless one.
Yeah.
Oh, the sleeveless one.
Yeah, Cameroon. Yeah.
Was that
Red
2002?
Hey?
Was that the 2002 World Cup?
Yeah, it would have been around that. Like, it's a mad story.
They had to wear Under Armour. You had to wear Under Armour shirts, didn't they? Because FIFA said
in the end,
you have to have sleeves in your shirt. So they all wore base layer short sleeve shirts, and they put sleeveless shirts over the top. I remember Rigobert Song.
They looked absolutely huge in them as well. I remember that Cameroon side was.
Yeah, but that was the dawn of that tight jersey. Do you remember when the Italians used to wear them all the time? Then with Puma and Nike and stuff like that. But we'll get Joe onto the Man on Football show where we don't have to talk about Leeds and we can talk about anything that goes on in the world of football. But I'll be in contact, Joe.
Nice one.
We'll plan our weekend away as well. That has been the midweek fix. Again, thanks to Chris, Kev, and Joe. Thanks to everybody in the chat. There's been loads of you putting in loads of really good comments, and we will talk to you tomorrow. 167 likes, get that to 200, or the reclaimer starts, I don't know, knocking on your door. He does something along those lines. Talk to you in a bit. Over now.